Wow, whoever chose that countdown music is a genius. That is so perfect. Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Star Wars Talk. We are a very versatile group around here at Laughing Place. So today, Rebekah wasn't quite up to doing the show, so I am filling in for her. My name is Doobie. I am the co-founder of Laughing Place, and I was thinking about what is an analogy to go from Rebekah to have me do this show. So I think this is kind of like having John Hammond moderate an IAPA panel on theme park safety.
I like it.
I I am not to Star Wars what Rebekah is, but I will definitely do my best. So it doesn't really matter because the person who's really going to be taking control here is the person to my left, your right. That is Mike Celestino, Mr. Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The weed whacker guy is going by my apartment right now, so there's going to be a little bit of noise, but I think we'll get through it.
If you need to go out there and like whoosh him with your lightsaber or something to shut him up, we're perfect.
Okay.
We're good with that. Tell him we're on the air. The red light is on. So before we start, quick reminder: if you wouldn't mind liking the stream for us, that helps us immensely. Subscribe to us, no matter how you're watching us. We're approaching 100,000 subscribers, so please help us get there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell your friends. This is Star Wars Talk. Let's get started, Mike. We're going to start. I've got a list of topics here given to me by my wife. First one would be the book review from a certain point of view, The Empire Strikes Back. You want to start there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wrote a review for laughingplace.com for this new book. It's the sequel to a book called Star Wars from a Certain Point of View that came out 3 years ago in celebration of the 40th anniversary of the original film. So now they're doing The Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, 1980 was the release date for this one. 40 years later now in 2020, and it's a collection of 40 short stories that focus on all the supporting and background characters from The Empire Strikes Back. I have to say that this review that I wrote that you're scrolling through here was mostly negative, which is rare for me to give a negative review to something Star Wars. But these books haven't worked for me in the way that I was hoping. I tried really hard to like them. This one I liked less than the previous one, and that one I had trouble getting into as well. But there were maybe about 10 out of the 40 stories that I liked that I thought were worth reading or recommending to others. So it's not going to be a glowing recommendation from me on this one.
I remember you talking about the Star Wars one, and it sounded so interesting. It was so disappointing to hear that it didn't live up to
I
that.
think it's a great idea. I really love the idea. And I always say that my favorite thing about Star Wars is that you could pick any character in the background and he or she would have a great story, as fun of a story as the main characters. And for whatever reason, when they've actually done that, it doesn't work for me. A lot of it came across as kind of dull for some reason. I don't know.
I'm curious. I assume this is one of the characters. Did they do the person
Yeah.
running, or did they do the ice cream maker?
The guy running with the ice cream maker gets a story. His name is Wilro Hood, and that thing is, they call it a Camtono now in the Star Wars canon. It's been in the Mandalorian a couple times, but yeah, you get to find out why he's running around with that thing. So
Wow.
that's the kind of stuff that you get. There's also one about like the guy who's carrying a box and he walks between Han and Leia as they're arguing on Hoth, and now he has a whole story. It's like, I don't know. I did start to roll my eyes after a while. Like, I don't know if we need. I mean, I hate to say that kind of thing. Like, we don't really need anything, but it does. A lot of it feels very like superfluous to me. But there
So,
were some gems in there too. I will say that I really liked actually the Bosk story, which wasn't a surprise because I named my podcast after that character. Wedge Antilles gets a really good story, and then like I really liked the story about the space slug, that big creature that's a big puppet that almost eats the Millennium Falcon. That story is so bizarre that I couldn't help but love it.
so they actually
Um,
did a story on this character.
that's correct. Yes, from its perspective across millennia, across eons. And they were joking about, because they've been doing these author events, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Each night this week, or for over 3 nights, they've been collecting some of the authors that contributed to this book, and they've been doing these panels. There's a screen capture from the first night, and the lady who wrote the Space Slug story talked about how her story is probably the single story in all of Star Wars that spans the most time, because it starts like thousands and thousands of years earlier and it ends thousands and thousands of years after the original trilogy. So that was
So,
fun.
so if you're into longevity, you want to be a space slug. Is the moral to this story?
Yeah, yeah, the most long-lived characters, I guess, in the Star Wars galaxy.
So, as you said, they did an author panel. Did
Yeah.
that give you some insight into perhaps why you were disappointed in it?
No, in fact, I would say the opposite, because all these people are so talented and so fun, and they seem like they're having a lot of fun writing these books. So why didn't I have fun consuming it? I don't know. I just, I look forward to almost everything when it comes to Star Wars. Most of the novels, most of the comics, I look forward to consuming all this and talking about it. The TV shows, the movies, but I'm like dreading the Return of the Jedi one in 3 years, and it's 3 years away. I'm like, oh god, I gotta get through another one of those. I don't know. What is it about these that doesn't connect with me? I don't know. But it's not working for me.
Well, luckily for you guys out there, if you are interested in learning some interesting tidbits about those side characters
Yeah.
and don't want to do the drudge through the entire book, read this article. Mike gives you some highlights from the authors that,
Yeah.
as I look through, certainly includes some of the tidbits that they touch upon. And save yourself a trudge and still get the info.
Yeah, so I've just been doing these recaps, like you said, of these three author events. The last one is going to be tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific, and I'll have that up this evening. And if you just want to know what they talked about, I'm just like going through and recapping what they said. But yeah, they're all talented writers for sure. And like I said, it's a good idea. It just falls short for me for whatever reason.
So those are, you said the last one's tonight. Is that available for anyone to watch?
Well, you had to pre-order the book on this website called
Gotcha.
University Bookstore. I'm not sure if you can still do that and still access that event, but it was for people who had pre-ordered it.
Okay. Which you did, and you're thrilled you did because you got to read the book. Okay, and then let's see, a comic book, Darth Vader 7. Is that where we're going
Oh
next?
yeah, yeah. Do you have the cover up there, the
Got it
image? Yeah,
right
there you go. I
there.
don't have to find it. These comics I am really into. I really liked this issue of Darth Vader. It's by a guy named Greg Pak, who famously wrote the Planet Hulk storyline for Marvel, and he's a great comic writer. And what's happening in the Darth Vader comic this month is Emperor Palpatine is angry at Darth Vader. It's set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Emperor Palpatine is angry at Vader for he like pursued his own interests after the events of Bespin at the end of Empire. He went off and tried to figure out what happened to Padme after the last time he saw her, back when he was still Anakin Skywalker. Anyway, Palpatine dumps Darth Vader back on the planet Mustafar, that lava planet that we saw where Obi-Wan and Anakin fought. And he like tears off all his robotic limbs, and he's like, last time you were in this situation, I helped you, but this time you got to like claw your way back up to power, basically. And it takes off from there. And there's also a tie-in with the last movie, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker from last year, because there's a Sith assassin named Ochi of Bestoon, who was a key figure in that movie. He was the guy who killed Rey's parents, and Palpatine has sent that guy after Vader as well. So Vader's like trying to reassemble his body using like discarded droid parts and stuff, and then he has to go up against this assassin, which was fun. And a lot of this issue is like a big fight scene, and then it ends with like a cliffhanger reveal of another tie-in character to The Rise of Skywalker that I don't want to spoil here, because it's like the last page of that issue. But next month we'll get into who that is.
So as the John Hammond I mentioned before, these comics are considered canon to the whole Star Wars story.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about what Disney did after they wiped clean the previous canon and kind of started over like 5 years ago. Basically, everything's considered canon now. All the comics and novels are on equal footing with the movies and TV show and stuff. So yeah, stuff that happens in the comics is, well, not necessarily just as important, but happens
That's really
within that
cool.
timeline.
Because
Yeah.
that's, I believe, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a step ahead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where the comics are definitely a separate thing from the movies. Here, you can really get in so many different ways. You can get into the same universe.
Yeah, well, Marvel does it a little differently because there are all these multiple parallel universes in the Marvel universe. So Marvel the 616 universe, I think they call it, is the main Marvel timeline in the comic books, and then the universe that's the movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that also has its own number and designation. And I want to say they have crossed over in the comics a little bit here and there. But yeah, Star Wars is all one timeline right now.
It's actually kind of cool. And
Well,
then
there is also the Legends timeline, which is what they've designated the previous canon that was the expanded universe before Disney bought Lucasfilm.
but there's a clear
It's not complicated enough.
delineation. So those
Yeah.
books that you read as a child still count for something, just not for everything.
Yeah, they call those legends, so that's not part of the current canon, but you can obviously those stories still exist and you can go back and enjoy them. They just aren't continuing anymore.
But the story of the guy carrying the ice cream maker, that is now canon. That happened.
Yeah, I don't those from a certain point of view books. I don't know how they fit them into the canon though, because some of the stuff like contradicts each other. That's part of what bugged me about it too,
Ah,
and some of it is very very silly. Like there's one story from the perspective of Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force Ghost in that book, and he's just like, I mean, it's meant to be funny, like it's a kind of a comedic story, but the Force Ghost is really like sassy about having to help out like the Skywalker family and everything. And I was laughing. It's kind of funny, but I don't know if I would call that canon. Some of them are very jokey as well.
call it canon fodder is what you would call it.
Yeah, canon. That's good.
Star Wars #8. How about this one?
Yeah, and this is another great comic coming out from Marvel. This is written by Charles Soule, one of my favorite Star Wars comic writers right now. And this is focusing on Princess Leia. Again, this is set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And Leia is going up against this Imperial officer named Commander Zara, who was Grand Moff Tarkin's like protege before he got blowed up on the first Death Star. And this lady, Zara, has like a grudge against Princess Leia because Leia was in charge of the rebels who blew up the Death Star. And now that's coming to a head and they're in conflict. And that's what this issue is about, and I really enjoyed it.
Do you prefer reading the comic books or like full novels, or it doesn't really matter? They all do the same
Now
for
we
you?
got a lawnmower, so so sorry about that.
Now we're in Stephen King world.
So do I prefer the comics or what?
or a regular novel? Do you care?
Well, the comics are faster to read, that's for sure. So when I get a novel that I have to review, it sometimes will take me like the whole weekend or something, but a comic is like half an hour, maybe 20 minutes. So that goes by faster in that way. And obviously you've got the images. You don't have to use your imagination as much. I don't know. I like both, but it's just depending on the mood I'm in, I guess.
Okay. All right, let's get on to what you really like to talk about, stuff. So you did a video review. You want to talk about this?
These are two new action figures from Diamond Select Toys, and they are Disney exclusives. So I thought they were Shop Disney exclusives, but apparently you can get them both on at the parks. I saw the Darth Maul. They had it at World of Disney the other day, Downtown Disney. I didn't see the Boba Fett, but you can also get them at Disney stores, I believe. So exclusive to Disney in those three places. And they are 7-inch action figures, making them 1 inch taller than the 6-inch Black Series figures from Hasbro. And they're just as detailed, very nice looking. You can see me using my hands to talk as I'm doing here as well. And they've come with some cool accessories, all the weapons, and different hands that you can switch out, whether you want them to be posing or holding the weapons and stuff. I really like them. I think they look great. And they've got like the blast, the fire, the coming out of the flamethrower and stuff. Yeah, I had no complaints about these figures, except sometimes it's hard to pose them in the exact way that you would want to, but that's like a very minor nitpick. I think they look terrific. They're $25 each, so not too much more than you would pay for the Black Series.
Serious question, Mike.
Yeah.
You ever pinch yourself that you get paid to play with toys?
If I had time to pinch myself, I probably would. But it's been very busy lately. In fact, right after we're done with this, I'm gonna go for my walk first of all. But then when I come back, I have a giant box of the Mandalorian toys that Hasbro sent us. This is kind of a teaser for something coming up later. But It's a huge box of Mandalorian toys, and I'm going to be unboxing that and going through that on YouTube. So stay tuned for that later on, maybe later today.
Yeah, make no mistake, it is work. It's the fun kind of work, but it's still
Yeah,
work.
that is true.
All right, next up, we have the long awaited trailer for some of us for the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, so it's the 42nd anniversary of the original Star Wars Holiday Special, which came out in 1978 on November 17th. And now on Disney Plus, you're going to be able to watch this new update, follow up to that. It's a lot sillier, a lot funnier, a lot more action, and it's in that Lego animation style. It's not from the same creative team who make the Lego movies, like Lego Movie, Lego Movie 2, Batman, Lego Movie. This is from the TV department of that animation style, and it has that same kind of humor. The writing, you know what? I'm not allowed to talk about what I thought about this yet. Now I just realized that there's a review embargo for Monday, but I will say that it's fun the way it looks. It looks fun here. It's fun like that. And then I'll save the rest of the review for Monday, and the special comes out on Tuesday.
Very cool. Very excited about that. Promises to be slightly better than the original Star Wars special.
And it does. It has and we know this from the trailers and the informations that's come out already. So there's no spoilers that haven't been revealed, but it does have references and homages to that original Star Wars holiday special. So it is like deliberately playing off that, and it celebrates Life Day, the in-universe holiday that takes place on November 17th now.
So that premieres on November 17th on Disney Plus, and as we are broadcasting this, today happens to be the first anniversary of Disney Plus, which means 1 year ago today, Mike Celestino was introduced to the greatest Star Wars character of all time, the Mandalorian.
Right. Well, 1 year ago last night, because it did go up early. I remember I got home I went to a screening of the Lady and the Tramp Disney Plus movie in Pasadena, I think, or Burbank or somewhere, and I got home and our CEO had texted me. He was like, Disney Plus is live. So I turned it on. I was like, well, we could watch The Mandalorian. And I think that was like 9 or 10 p.m. that night. So yeah, it was the night before.
So you must be a little bit disappointed that because of your job, the first Disney Plus product you consumed was not The Mandalorian. You got to see Lady and the Tramp live action first.
That's I wasn't disappointed. It was fine. It was cool. I had no complaints. But yeah, that is true. And then Rebekah had wanted us to note that it was the anniversary of the McClunky cut of,
I feel like
Star Wars.
That's gotten like lost in the shuffle, but I remember how big a deal that was when someone discovered that 1 year ago today.
Right.
McClunky, what in the world is this? That was pretty awesome. That was really awesome. Let's see. Next up on my list, we've got could have been a little bit more prepared, but it's coming. Dream come true for you, Mike.
Yeah, I don't really know what this is. This is I saw the headline, but it's a Star Wars music pop-up channel on Dash Radio. Do you know what Dash Radio is?
I don't even know what Dash Radio is.
Okay.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the article's on Laughing Place if you want to write it. So Dash Radio.
Sorry, I should have done more research about that.
So if you like Star Wars music, and who doesn't, dashradio.com/Star Wars.
Yeah, it says highlights from film and television, so I'm sure it's Star Wars music from across the whole saga. So
from across the universe, but not across the universe. That's a different movie. How about the ILM and LAB?
Yeah, so ILM Lab is it's like the tech division of Lucasfilm. It's like their video games division, right? At this point, they do VR stuff, and they're creating this new Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge that comes out next week, actually a week from today. So that'll be fun to check out. And that's a tie-in to Galaxy's Edge at the theme park, so you can go back to Batuu in virtual reality. But what they did this week was release part of the musical score that you can go and watch on YouTube. It's by Bear McCreary, who's a famous TV composer. He did Battlestar Galactica, the reboot and sci-fi.
Oh, the reboot, not the original.
Yeah, not the original from the 70s. No, the newer one. And he did The Walking Dead and stuff as well. But there were three composers involved with this, and he was one of the three.
And this is for a video game?
Yeah, it's for the VR experience coming next week.
I mean, you wear the thingies and that whole thing.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's on the
on VR.
Oculus
Sorry,
Quest, which I got for the Vader Immortal thing that came out last year, which was very cool, and excited to check this one out too.
do you have a video up on our YouTube of you wearing that and playing? And no,
No, I don't think it would come across.
I just
Uh,
want the video of you doing this.
so there is a way with the Oculus Quest, as of last time I was playing it, which was a while ago now, but you can sync it up with your TV so the person in the room with you can see what you're doing on the TV. But the only problem with that is it puts a little red dot in the upper right corner of your vision in the VR thing, and it was like taken away from the
That's annoying.
immersion to me. And it was cool that my wife could watch along with me when I was playing the Vader thing or other stuff, and I didn't want it on because it was bothering me. But I guess I just have I don't know, I'm a little OCD in that way that I didn't want it there. I
I think
wish
that's
that they would
reasonable.
make that toggle on and off.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I mean, that just takes you out of the moment, it kills the magic.
I mean, I understand like maybe it's kind of to prevent other people watching you without your knowledge, I guess, watching what you're doing in the VR.
What are
I
you
don't
doing
know.
in the VR that's such
No,
a
no,
concern?
it's just there's a little game where you run around and you're a mouse, but nothing untoward.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we have something we talked about on Monday on our Disney Parks talk, but we can talk about it
Yeah.
again here. Go for it.
Yeah, so ordinarily you would go to the Droid Depot at Galaxy's Edge and you spend $100 and build your own droid. But now if you have your own droid and you want to switch out some of the parts, you can go and buy replacement parts at the Droid Depot, and they are far cheaper than just buying the entire droid. I want to say $14.99 or $10 each when you buy three.
Cool. Sorry.
Yep, you got all the domes, you got all the balls for the BB units.
I feel like I'm sure this isn't the case, but I feel like there's some parts that are much more popular than others when people build them, and so these are like the leftovers. But that's not the case. Everything's available here, right?
It looked like it to me, but I only ever built the droid on the media day when they let me do like a demo of it, so I don't actually have one of them that I got to keep. So I'm not too familiar with what all the different parts are. Um, but it looked like they had most of them from what I've seen.
All right. Next up, we have the limited collector's edition of Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising. And to be honest, I don't even know what the media is for this product based on that. So tell us, Mike.
Oh yeah, so this is a novel that came out earlier this year called Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy, which I really enjoyed, by Timothy Zahn. It's about that character Grand Admiral Thrawn, but this is in his youth. Oh, I'm getting a package delivered. I wonder what that is. Sorry,
More
there's
toys.
a lot of stuff happening outside my window here. But this it's just a new collector's edition of this book, and it's got a nice hardbound cover with a slip case, and what else? The blue papers is I have that on my edition that I got, the first printing of that. So that's not new, but there's also other stuff available here. You could get a T-shirt. This book, I don't know. I'm pointing like you can see me where I'm pointing, but
This book.
the, so this T-shirt is the cover of Thrawn's original appearance in a book called Heir to the Empire, which came out in 1991, and that was when I was really getting into Star Wars as a a tween, I guess. What do you call that age? Um,
Between
uh,
words.
so yeah, that's a nice T-shirt from Out of Print. I don't. Does that come with? No, it says it can also be purchased
Yeah.
from. Okay, so
So you can get it. You can get it as a part of a bundle.
yeah.
Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising, as well as the all-new Heir to the Empire shirt, can be purchased from Out of Print. So there you go. And flip over to here. We have the Star Wars Celebration virtual store. More opportunities to purchase stuff.
Yeah, so they did this earlier this year after Star Wars Celebration was sadly canceled due to the lockdown and everything. You could go on the website and buy the merchandise that they would have sold at the convention if it had happened. Um, and now they're doing it again with, I think, some of the same merchandise and some additional merchandise. And I think if you scroll down, you can see what a bunch of that stuff is. There's a lot of T-shirts. There's a lot of Mandalorian shirts and some
Whoa.
Baby Yoda. Oh, this is a weird looking.
What is that?
I don't know. It's like Yoda if he was a lima bean or something. I don't know.
They call it a 15-inch stylized roll plush. ROLL. I don't know what that's meant to be.
I don't know either. Mandalorian hoodie.
What is
Oh,
that?
the egg from the Mandalorian. I hadn't seen that before actually. What's inside of there? What is that kid looking at? It's like the briefcase from Pulp Fiction. Like it's whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. Exactly. And some
So these pins were
event
available.
merchandise.
Yeah, the pins were available previously at that other event online, and then I hadn't seen this before. Little Baby Yoda pouch,
Carry Yoda around on your butt. Go for it.
and what's this? A quilt,
I
an
kind of like
alphabet
this.
quilt.
Oh, by Shag. You know that's going to be popular.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Anything Shag does.
Oh, that's cool. So it's all each character by the name, by the letter that their name
Yeah,
starts with.
that's really clever, actually. I don't know most of those characters, but I wouldn't mind that. Rebo.
Max Rebo, that's kind of neat. Salacious Crumb acrylic magnet.
And of course,
No thank you to Dio. I like Dio. I like his voice, the J.J. Abrams voice to Dio. So that's a fun
uh,
shirt. Oh,
so my
this is
wife.
weird. A cloud car
Oh, the
phone.
cloud car. That's right. That's kind of neat. My wife tells me apparently there's a line of. I believe she's telling me there's a line of Shag alphabet merchandise. So
Okay.
that maybe just one of the items, and that's really cool. I have a feeling that's going to do really well. Let's see, Mandalorian Chapter Two. Don't tell me the passenger
Yes.
was on Monday, was on last Friday. So if you're looking to hear talk about that, we
Yeah.
do a Mando Monday every week where we do a nice in-depth recap of that episode. Mike and my wife, Rebekah. So make sure you check that out on our channel. It's just called Mando Monday, and he'll give you a full recap of that. But I'll give
Yeah.
you Mike's recap in summary. It was okay.
I also plucked the audio from our discussion and put it in my Star Wars podcast, Who's the Boss, which the new episode just went up this morning. You can go
Okay.
and check that out there. And there's
Oh,
also an interview with Dan Zaire, who is the host of a popular Star Wars podcast called Coffee with Kenobi, and he's also the co-author of the Star Wars book, reference book that came out a couple weeks ago.
wow. So that's you definitely want to check out Who's the Boss this week because it's very good. Very cool episode, it sounds like. Is that reference book more interesting than back characters from Empire Strikes Back?
Well, I gave it a more positive review, that's for sure. It's not a story though. It's
Right.
like that reference book is going to be great for me because I'm always like, I got to cross reference something and I'll go to the index and I'll go to that character's page and it has the whole character in, um, the whole history of that character. Sorry,
My
Rebecca was
wife,
saying something.
my wife says that your review of it was so good that she went and purchased the Kindle version and she's really enjoying it. So good to know. Good to know. Anything else from the week in Star Wars we should cover or anything we need to look forward to over the next few days?
Well, we got another Mandalorian tomorrow, and then yeah, back on the Mando beat on Monday with more Mando Mondays merch and stuff. And it's fun. It's fun that we've got these two separate Star Wars shows now. One is just about the Mandalorian, and one is all about all the other stuff. So I'm happy that there's this much material to cover.
The Mandalorian tomorrow's episode is. Do we have a name for it?
No, we never know the name until the moment it
Okay.
airs.
But I
It
did see
drops.
like the one sentence synopsis. Is that like spoiler to even say that? Should I keep that to myself?
Oh, I didn't even know that there was a
Okay.
synopsis for
I
it,
got
so I don't
nothing to
even
say.
want to
I
know.
got nothing to say. I'm glad I asked first.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Once again, Who's Boss is his podcast. You can find that where all podcasts can be found, iTunes, etc. You also can
Yep.
find links on laughingplace.com, our website. You can find Mike doing Mando Monday every Monday, Star Wars Live every Thursday. You can find him doing um, Disney Park Talk Live, where we do the week in Disney news, because Mike is also our Southern California reporter. And Mike is live all the time from downtown Disney until Disneyland Resort reopens. And he'll actually be inside a park, except coming up next week. 1 week from today, Mike. You excited?
I am actually really excited because it's been a long time since there was an event like this where I feel like there's going to be a lot of energy around it, and it's going to be a little crazy, I think, that morning, but I think it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to being there and to the live stream and stuff. So yeah, definitely check that out.
So that'll be from inside. Hopefully, we get in there inside DCA as they open up Buena Vista Street for the part of Downtown Disney a week from today. Later on today, we've got a recap of the earnings, Disney's quarterly earnings at 3 p.m. That's always interesting, both in terms of the state of the company, and sometimes we'll get some announcements out of that or some indication of stuff coming. So we recommend you check that out at 3 p.m. We'll be live on all our platforms. And then tonight at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, Jeremiah will be doing his rescheduled Theme Park History 101. YouTube was having lots of issues last night. So it's been rescheduled for tonight, and he's going to be talking with Cole and a special guest about the original Universal Studios tram tour as he goes through the history of theme parks as only Jeremiah can. So make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell on YouTube. We go live a lot. You'll want to see it. Check out the website, laughingplace.com, and definitely check out the podcast, Who's the Boss. Love you, honey. Hope you're feeling better. Bye, everybody.
He's talking to his wife, not me.
Thanks for clarifying that.